Hi there, Brett here. Welcome back to Tabletop Sagas. And today I'm a little behind the bandwagon, I think, with these ones, but I am finally back on some early medieval, dark ages, whatever term you prefer, with some, actually, even earlier, we're going back to sub-Roman dark ages. We're going back to that 6th, 7th century sort of time, with some early Saxons. So let's switch over to the table and I'll show you what I've been working on. So it's been a hot minute since I've really discussed much about this project, but yeah, I am back on some Dark Ages, back with the Saxons. And these ones are not more of my Warlord Games ones that I have got and have painted up in previous videos. These are actually some new ones from Victrix. These are their early Saxon Warband. It's not all of the bag. This is really just a selection of it. So where have these miniatures come from? Well, I've got a friend who I play a lot of games with who is absolutely really keen on doing some Pillage games, but he's been kind of painting things up himself, and I've got too many games, as I said to him, and if you paint it, you do the models, I'll absolutely play it, and yeah, I'm absolutely interested in it, but I just don't have room for another project at the minute, shall we say. Well, I then went to Battleground about a month or so ago now, and yeah, it turns out that I'm absolutely full of it because I saw a bag of these and I had some additional money, what I had planned to spend, and wouldn't you know it, these fell into my hand, the money fell out of my wallet, and next thing you know I was coming home with a bag of Saxons. And so yeah, that's how that's the story, and I'm sticking to it. And so I thought, let's actually use them, let's not let these fall into a pile of shame, because Victrix models, their sculpts are really they're getting better and better. I've got some of their Roman legions, I've got some of their Greeks, and these are they're just so nice, honestly, the models. I really don't have a bad thing to say about them, particularly when you get those little Big Man Studio shield transfers on them as well. Absolutely amazing models. So what have we got here? Well, in terms of Pillage, we've got some somewhat or like half or lightly armored guys over here, which are the guys with no armor but shields, and a couple of spearmen and a hand weapon. And then we've got some heavy weapons guys. We've got a spearman heavy weapon, or fully armored I should say, not heavy weapons. And then we've got a hand weapon with an axe and fully armored. I've got a banner, because if you can have a banner, I'm going to have a banner at some point. I've got my warlord. I think this is absolutely the model with the cape, is the one that is supposed to be your warlord. I've then got a slinger. I've got a guy who I've kind of done as a javelin man, although to be perfectly honest, looking at that spear, really, you could probably play him as, rather than a somewhat armored javelin guy, you could probably play him as a somewhat armored spearman, and I don't think people would mind too much. And then I've got a couple of archers. These are all very light, pale, ashen wood weaponry. So let's have a look at some of these in a little bit more detail. And where can we start? But of course, this absolutely amazing bannerman, courtesy of Little Big Man Studios, for that banner there, really. So this guy is just with a smaller buckler shield, but he's somewhat armored. Actually, I think he would count as fully armored because he's got the armor and the shield, I should say. He does have a hand weapon, which I've modeled on as it being sheathed at the minute, because of course the whole thing with Pillage is it is very decidedly WYSIWYG. What you see is what you've got, or what you get, depending on who you speak to. You can see these models, I have painted them up pretty simply. They aren't anything too crazy. They are just generally a contrast paint with a little bit of a wash on them, and then a little bit of highlight to bring them up. Now, interestingly, the wash that I've used is actually marine juice, which is from the infamous Sonic Sledgehammer, a guy whose videos I've referenced many a time in the past, particularly for World War II. He does some excellent how I paint videos, and so I have stolen some of his ideas for these as well. I've also used Martin Seventh Son's techniques for making banners in order to get them looking like they are blowing in the wind and they aren't just a straight bit of paper that you have folded around the spear. And then here we've got my warlord. So this guy, I mean, that cape, I blame, to be honest, Games Workshop for this, but a guy carrying a cape screams character to me. I can't help it. It's just the wargaming language almost that I was raised in. It's also, as always as well, take time to just appreciate that lovely Little Big Man Studios shield transfer with the dirt on them already painted onto them and all that lovely detail with the runes. They just, honestly, you cannot get better. They really are absolutely second to none. So this guy, again, so much metal being heavily armored. There really wasn't actually a whole lot of effort it took to paint these up. They're probably about half an hour a model, to be perfectly honest, when you batch paint them in this sort of size. So they came together really quickly, and I think that they do look really nice and really good for it. One thing I have also really tried to do here is vary the colours. You know, they're supposed to be militia, people that are just called up to fight. They're not, you know, state-sponsored troops or anything like that. So really, this is something that's particularly a nice change of pace from my samurai stuff that I've been working on, or my World War II stuff that I've been working on, or to be honest, even the 7 Years' War Austrian stuff that I've been working on. That ability to add individuality to a model is really nice. I have tried to do that with some of my medieval 10mm stuff, but it's not really been working at the minute. So even though these were something I got on a whim, I didn't really expect to be painting them anytime soon. They were probably going to be just, you know, they'll sit in the back of the closet until I find a reason for them. Actually, these have been an absolutely lovely palette cleanser. And as you can see here, you know, these details, it's just, you cannot go wrong with a Victrix model. And then just to round out my selection here, as you can see, here are the ranged support, certainly the main guys. And one thing I wanted to talk about with these was the bows themselves. So I did a bit of Googling. I was having a look at what did in the sort of the early medieval era, what seemed to be the most common wood that was used for bows and for shafts of spears and things like that. And came out that it was apparently, quote unquote, if you like, it was ash. And then Googling what the colour of ash shafts for spears look like and things like that. And actually, it's quite a pale wood. It's a lot paler than how I typically do my spears and things. So, okay, you know what? I am happy to adjust and things like that as I learn information. So yeah, so that's really, these have been painted a lot paler than I would normally have painted them, and I'm not sure how I like them. I don't hate them or anything. I mean, it's a wooden detail, so you know, it's kind of a background tertiary detail, but it does seem to be more accurate, and I think I am happy with it, I think. But what do you think? Are you more of your deeper browns, that typical way that we tend to like to paint spears and bows and things, or do you like this look as well? It is certainly more striking, and they are certainly clearer as to where they are on the battlefield. That lighter colour does definitely jump out quite a bit more. So this is the force as is at the minute. It is pretty small, only 11 guys. I think it would be enough for a starting game, but not enough for maybe a full game of Pillage, certainly. So really the question is, where are we going from here? Well, I probably want at least double this, although I know you can only have one banner per army, force, faction, whatever you want to call it, and you can only have one warlord for every 25 models, so I don't probably need any more of either of them, but I think a couple more archers, maybe one unarmored and then one with some plot armor, so you know, some leather jerkin or something like that. A guy who is more clearly a javelin guy, and probably a completely unarmored one this time, and then another slinger. So that'll be what? 4 more models of them. More than I'm going to need, but always good to have. I probably want to double out the somewhat armored guys, double out the, so that's what, 4, 7, and then a couple of them, so 9. So that'll bring me up to 20 guys. So it wouldn't be enough to get another warlord, but I do think that 20 guys, I'd have a lot of options there, and so that's what I'm going to do. And luckily the bag does come with 36 models, something like that, so plenty enough to do all of this. And then what I do think I'm going to do, try and see if I can use some of my other Saxons, or maybe speak to my friend and steal some from him. But I want some big two-handed Dane-axey looking guys. The early Saxons, I don't think they were really well known for using big two-handed axes, but you've got to imagine, I think some of them will have had them, and I do think it is thematic, so I do want to mix and match some of those in as well. Kind of one of the advantages as well of having, you know, a mate who goes in for the Vikings, I'll go in for the Saxons, and we can mix and match. Now, of course, these as well, for my own benefit, what I'm thinking of doing as well is I wanted to play, and the reason why I got early Saxons specifically is I want to use some of these for possibly doing some sub-Roman Britain stuff. So maybe have these going against, you know, your Romano-British forces, some Picts, some Scots, some Irish, things like that. So there is hopefully that earlier era that I can kind of maybe get more of my teeth into and focus on for some games of Pillage with these models. So what do you think about these miniatures? They are a little bit of a hodgepodge of different things, and they are, by the nature of them being militia and guys bringing their own equipment, they're all different colors. As always, the Victrix sculpts look absolutely amazing. Don't get me wrong, I love the work that I've done with some of my Warlord Saxons, but these Victrix, they really knock it out of the park. The stuff they're coming out with is just, it's getting better and better and better. And when people say that, you know, Games Workshop have the best plastics, I honestly think now, if not maybe now, certainly in the very near future, you're going to be able to point to Victrix stuff and say, yeah, you really think that? Look at these. And I think that somebody would struggle to disagree with that. It definitely seems to be the trajectory that Victrix are heading on, which is absolutely great to see. So let me know, what do you think? How do you think I should expand this force? I want to play some Pillage games with these, so I do need to probably about double these, and then I think I've got more or less everything that I need, plus maybe a few wacky choices as well there. So do let me know down in the comments below all that, and also as well, do hit the subscribe button if you're going down there as well. It does help out the channel massively. I do really appreciate it. I'm doing a lot of work at the minute to really try and push things here, and I hope that it is paying off and you do appreciate it. As always, I'm Brett here at Tabletop Sags though, and I'll see you in the next video.